Hello, welcome or welcome back, depending on if you're new here. Today I have an art challenge roundup for you. This is 31 days worth of paintings from the World Watercolor Month art challenge. If you've never heard of World Watercolor Month before, I'll put some information and a link to the website in the description below, but it's a great art challenge that celebrates the medium of watercolor, and it raises money for some children's arts organizations. I've participated in the last few years, and it's one of my favorite art challenges to take part in just because it's so fun. So yeah, here is 31 days of paintings. I used my normal studio palette for this, along with my trusty ink pen. You are allowed to incorporate other mediums in this challenge. You're supposed to focus on the watercolor as like what really shines. Starting with day one, we have Radiant. This is a radiantly happy pigeon holding her brand new Radiant cut engagement ring, which I did break out some iridescent paint for. I don't know how well that's going to come across on camera, but it does sparkle. Oftentimes I do these challenges in a sketchbook, but this time I had some Arches paper that I've had for a few years now, so it was getting a little bit old, but it still worked perfectly well, so I figured I would use that paper for this challenge. So I was using some like really nice paper for this, which is always fun. But this is day one. Day two is Espresso. We have a little mouse friend drinking from one of those little teeny espresso mugs. I ended up incorporating a mouse theme in here, which I actually didn't plan to do in the beginning, and I haven't really ever drawn a lot of mice before, but I don't know, once I did one of them, they just started popping into my head for the other prompts, so this is the first of several mice in this month. Day three, we have Ripple, continuing the mouse theme. This is one of the few full paper compositions I did for this month. Usually I like to keep them a little bit smaller or less complicated just so that it doesn't become overwhelming for me to finish the challenge. Keeping them on the like simpler or smaller side helps it just stay manageable and fun for me. But this one, it just ended up working out that I had a full composition in mind. So we have a little mouse friend taking a little dip in the pond. For day four, we have this old Polaroid for Fade. And this one is actually one of my favorites of the month, I think. So I recently went on a trip to go hike in Acadia, and I have a travel journal spread art process painting on my channel if you want to check it out. But it was such an incredible trip, and it was so fun, and there were a lot of foggy tree views that we saw while we were there. So when I saw that day four was Fade, it just felt like sort of a fun idea to do, several levels of fading. So like an old sort of faded Polaroid that also depicted, trees fading into the fog. I just thought that would be fun, and I really like how this came out. So I was really happy with this one. Day five, we have Lock and a return to our mice friends. I'd say 10 points to whoever can guess what's in this safe that he's cracking right now. Day six is Hat, and I think this one came out really cute. I love this little fashionista and her bright pink hat, and she's so happy. Day seven is Melt, and a break from the mice friends. We have this little cat. I'm choosing to think that the cat was out and about and happened upon this ice cream that fell, and so he gets a fun treat. and not that he had ice cream and dropped it, because that would be sad. So I'm thinking that he just sort of stumbled upon this abandoned melted ice cream cone and it's all his now and he's happy about it. Day 8 is tired. We have a grumpy little cat friend who has been interrupted from his nap and is very unhappy about it. Day 9 is home, and we have these little bookworms in their book houses, and I've had this picture in my mind for this one, and I do like how it came out. I think it's cute, and I might make this one a sticker of some kind, but this one was fun. Day 10 is one of my favorites. Day 10 was turtle. I had a really strong vision in my mind for this one also. This little librarian turtle and her book stack that she's taking home to read. Now day 11 is spicy, so chilies. This one was fun. It was kind of meditative to paint. Day 12 we have Rumble, and this is a return to the mice, and he's ready to go, you know? He's ready to win. Day 13 is Cavern, and it took me kind of a while to figure out what I wanted to do for this one, and I ended up with this little ocean cave. I didn't incorporate a character into this one. It's one of the few that I didn't, but yeah, this is Cavern. Stretch is this cat taking a big stretch, lying on the ground. The last few years I've done sort of a heavy cat theme. Not that I didn't do several cats in this one, I just ended up switching also to mice and branching out into other animals, which I don't usually do. So cats is almost a return to normalcy for me, but this one was fun. Now, day 15, which was Dusty, was a bit of a challenge for me. It took me a while to figure out what on earth to do for this one. And I ended up going with a dust bunny, and figuring out how I wanted to portray that it took a little while, but this one ended up being sort of fun to make because it was a lot of scribbling, both with the pen and the paintbrush. So here's my little dust bunny. Day 16 is Geode, so we have this little piece of amethyst. And this one, I don't know if it'll come across on camera, but I used Daniel Smith's Amethyst Genuine, which does have a little bit of a sparkle to it. It's on the subtler side, so it might not really be coming across, but I think it's such a pretty color, and I don't use it as often as I should, but it is in my palette, and even though it's a little bit annoying to re-wet, I just love it. It's so pretty. Anyway, this is day 16. Day 17 is Chair, and we have a little mouse friend sitting on a very large chair. This one, to be honest, is not my favorite. I liked it a lot more before I painted the brown in, but the only reason I painted the brown in was because I did the shadow and then realized that if there were holes in the chair, there should be holes in the shadow, and it was a little bit too late, so I ended up having to make the back of the chair solid, and it makes it a little bit harder to see the mouse. But you know what? It is what it is. So this one, not my favorite, but I like the plan that I originally had for it. Day 18 is rigid and brick wall. It took me a little while to decide what I wanted to do for this one as well. And this is another one, I think only the second, oh no, maybe third, like full composition piece. But mixing and deciding what sorts of reds and earthy browns that I wanted to put in here was a fun experiment. And if I haven't mentioned it yet, if you want to see the process for drawing and painting these, they're all in, I've been posting shorts every day of the month, so they're all in an art challenge playlist on my channel, along with past World Watercolor Months and last year's like World Watercolor Month recap. So that'll be, I'll link that in the description below, but the actual art processes are available there. Day 19 is perform, and we have this beautiful prima ballerina doing her thing. She's loving it, and yeah, that's day 19. Day 20 is kitchen, and this fantastic chef has plated up some spaghetti for you. This one was cute. I had ratatouille in my mind while I was making it, even though he's a mouse and not a rat. But anyway, he's cute. Now, speaking of rats, day 21 is street food, and my little New York City heart immediately had this pop into my mind, and I couldn't not do it. So here's a rat happily eating a slice of pizza on the street, and I kind of love this one. I will probably make a print and or a sticker out of it, so if you're interested, that'll be available sometime soon. I'll probably do that for some of the others too, but this one I really like. But anyway, this is day 21, street food. Day 22 is jacket. So here is a jacket that I wanted to make fun colors so that it wasn't just a boring jacket. And yeah. Day 23 was group. So here's a group chat. It's clearly popping off. A lot of things to say. This one was like a fun, easy one to make. Day 23 is avocado, and I am also really happy with how this one came out, and I'll definitely make a sticker, at least of this left side. But I'm really happy with this one, and I brought out a couple of colors. I think this green was actually not part of my studio palette. It is this paint, it's milkweed from Beam Paints, and if you haven't tried Beam Paints, they're great, and they have a real sustainability aspect to their company that is really, really great. So I don't use these as often as I should because the paints are really good to use, so I was happy to break this one out. But yeah, here is day 24, avocado. Day 25, we have Howl. So here's a very enthusiastic puppy howling his little heart out. Day 26 is drift, and we have a bunch of fishies here. This one was fun to make. I like drawing fishies. I should do more of them. It was fun to think of the different shapes to put them in, you know? I like this guy and this one. But yeah, this is C for day 26. Day 27 is drift, so we have some leaves drifting to the ground in the fall. Day 27 is weave, so here's a little close-up of threads being woven together. This one was actually a lot harder than I thought it would be going in, because when I started sketching it out, I had thought that I was going to end up with like a much tighter weave, like these spaces in between I was thinking weren't gonna be spaces, they were gonna be threads, and then I realized that I had done it wrong, if that's what I had wanted you to do. So I ended up with this really spaced out looking weave instead, which is fine, you know. But anyway, this is weave. Day 29 is Submerge. So we've got some submerged treasure at the bottom of the ocean. Day 30 is Ornate. And if you have watched like any of my content before, you may have seen one of the several spreads in my sketchbook that I have done at the Met, where I go and I just paint the gallery painting frames because they're so ornate and super cool. And I haven't done that in a while, it's been a few months, but as soon as I saw this was today's prompt, I was like, oh, gotta bring that back. So this is a very ornate frame. And then last but not least, we have day 31, which is Tower, and we're ending it on Cat Punzel with her majestic tail sticking out of her window. This one is one of those ones where it pops into your brain and you're like, is that gonna work? I don't know if that's gonna work. But, you know, I like it. I think I like the way that it came out. And I'm happy to have ended the challenge on this one. I am a big fan of art challenges because they really push me to try things that I normally wouldn't, and sometimes we end up with some pieces that, you know, you are really proud of that you never thought that you'd make. You know, I really like how Tower came out, and I don't know that I ever would have thought Cat Punzel was a thing that I wanted to paint. But, you know, this is one of my favorites. I think I really liked Avocado and Turtle and Home and Street Food, again, one of my favorites. Spicy and Fade. Some of these, like especially for Fade, it took me a really long time to figure out what on earth I was going to paint for this prompt, and I ended up with this piece that I really, really like. So that's part of the fun of art challenges for me, aside from, you know, the feeling of accomplishing all 31 days. And yeah, that is it. If you've made it this far, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and consider subscribing if you want to see more from me. Let me know in the comments if you participated in World Watercolor Month and what your favorite prompts were from this year's challenge. There were some really fun ones. All of the supplies that I used this month will be linked in the description below in case you want to check them out, along with a link to, you know, the process for each of these days and some information about World Watercolor Month. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.